Do you guys believe the current inflation numbers? And do you believe the rhetoric that you're hearing? Like, from now, as much as I love and adore the current administration, man, or whatever, I'm not feeling the love in terms of the pocketbook and the numbers. Inflation is like way out of control. Have you driven through a car lot? You explain to me how those brand new SUVs that used to cost, what, 40 grand are now $100,000. Try buying a box of screws to build a deck. You know how much it costs to build a deck on a house? I was just talking to a family member who does construction, and it's like $15,000. I mean, holy smokes. So I'm going to share with you some research I did. This is in order to help you. I'm going to try to provide some value here for you guys today, because I know this is the time of year when a lot of people are burning their money on investments and tools and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you what the data, I did some research on what the actual inflation really is. Now, dude, I tried to look this up, and man, do they cook the numbers. They're doing all sorts of magic tricks on you to make it look like it's not that bad. But if you look at stuff like gold, silver, holy smokes, I didn't realize how much silver went up in the last 5 years. And gasoline and diesel and real stuff. Like, what's the cost of a box of federal 22 ammunition now? The 550 round packs, if you can even find them, right? If they're reducing the size and increasing the price. What in the hell is this? To try to make it not hurt as bad. So I did some research actually looking at the prices 5 years ago from today and today's prices. And I'm going to share with you what I found. And then I'm going to show you some stuff that is like way, way underpriced historically, that I noticed that are different opportunities that are in my field. If you're looking for tools, and if you want to make the best use of your money before the market corrects on certain stuff, it'll be handy. So let me show you this, dig this. So here is chart number 1, which I made for you guys. This is showing the real price increases from 2019 to 2025 in terms of percentage. So you see on the bottom, we have the labels. We have F-150 pickup trucks. We have 22 ammunition. We have houses. We have gold. We have silver, gasoline, diesel, Snickers, candy bars, because that's just another real item that you're going to buy at the gas station, a real indicator of actual price that's not cherry-picked like everyone else does to stew the numbers. And then XM193, because that's what guys like us are going to purchase as something that's an expense, right? So if you look on the side, the higher the bar goes, that's the percentage increase. And we also have today's price and the 2019 price of the same exact item. As far as I could find, the most similar item, same model, etc. Okay. Now, of course, on pickup trucks, you have a variance in years, but an F-150 is an F-150 usually. Okay. So over the last 5 years, the real world prices on everyday items has exploded way beyond their official narrative. So I compared 2019 prices to today. An F-150 truck has gone up 38% for the exact same trim. I tried my best to get the exact same model and trim. So an F-150, same trim model, and then average that out and tried to find the model that changed the least. It went from like $28,000 to almost $39,000 for just an F-150, normal F-150 pickup truck. That's a big increase. 22 ammunition, I dug back and found the old prices. It's up 136%. 136%. In 2019, you could get a 550 pack for $17, which I thought was expensive in 2019. It's now $40 on average. A home is like $410,000 now, up 50%. It used to be like 275 grand for a house. I looked at gold. Gold is a good steady measure historically. That's probably your real-time value if you want to look at how much buying power has been lost. Pretty stable for the most part. It will have fluctuations, but it's actually not the gold that's fluctuating all that much. Everything else is fluctuating that much. It went from $1,460 to $4,165 when I rechecked this morning. That's a 185% increase. Now, silver, for whatever reason, and I haven't been paying attention, I have a little bit of silver, but it's up 212%. It was $18. Now it's like $53. That's a decent increase. Good investment, right? If a guy only would have known in 2019 that was a good price, then he could, if you're a psychic? Well, we're going to try to help you with the numbers today. Look, at gasoline is relatively stable. It's only up 18%. Diesel fuels about 32%. I think we drilled a lot, and we're opening up the fossil fuels, market and all that here in the United States. That helped a bit. A Snickers candy bar, I think, is up 30%. If you look at the 500 rounds of XM 193, it's up about 43% for your 5.56 Lake City style 55 grain full metal jackets. So ammunition's up, fuel is up, housing is way up, precious metals are way up. So stuff is increasing in price. So if you average based on these actual real world items that dudes actually buy, you can get an idea of how much the dollar has slid. So if you take those numbers, it's an average of about 82.6% on how much stuff changed in the last 5 years. That's a big number. So I'm going to show you some items that are new on the market, but we can use and project the realistic value of new items by applying the same inflation trend as seen in comparable goods. So like these rifle scopes and some of these electronic devices are kind of made in the same general place. You can look at other products and see what those trends are. And when you take a category that consistently rises at a measurable rate over time, that rate does become a reliable basis to estimate what newly released items would cost if they followed the same real world pricing behavior. Now, some of these are undervalued out the door to begin with, but this is going to be a list of stuff that I've observed over time that already has an incredible value, but also with the current trends and the underpricing of that entire genre of market together, like exponentially are really, really underpriced. So even if one of these products did not exist in 2019, some of them almost did, we can use historical price behavior within the same category to estimate its corrected price today. So you just apply the average inflation trend across similar durable goods. Does that make sense, guys? So I'm going to show you what some of the stuff that's new on the market today should cost based on these trends on comparable goods. Now, there are certain tools, because I was thinking about it, in the 90s, guys, I remember being a kid and I wanted a Colt H-bar. So I went down to Gun City, which doesn't exist anymore. I had to drive to the big town, and they had a whole rack of Colts. They had like the A2s and they had the A3 Elite, and then they didn't really have the M4s back then. And I remember them being around $1,100 or $1,200 back then. That's like almost the same price they are still today. So in the 90s, a Colt AR-15 was around $1,000 or a little more. And now they're about the same price. So what would they cost if you actually adjused them to the current pricing? So I looked at the price of a Colt 6920 rifle, which is your typical M4 normal MIG pull furniture or whatever. The current price, I think on average, from what I can find, is around $1,353, which to me sounds like, man, it went up a little bit. That's a lot of money. If you adjust for how much the dollar slid, it should right now, once the market catches up and corrects, should be $2,280. Why is it so low right now? I think there's a number of reasons for that. It's a slower market. There's a lot more build-up inventory and parts and stuff like that that's already been purchased a long time ago. So stuff isn't being pushed through as fast. But it's like way, way cheaper than it should be. Like if you convert that to 5 year ago prices, that would be like, $800 in 2019 prices, $800 some dollars for a Colt 6920, which pick whatever brand you like. Most ARs right now, if you're finding stuff for $1,000, that is a hell of an opportunity if you don't have a couple. If you want your kids to inherit them or something like that, then that's rifles, man. Rifles are cheap right now. If you figure out the inflation, that's something to consider. That's something to look at. In my business, I just put these on here because I'm familiar with it. A decent precision rifle optic, we just use as a baseline the Arkin SH4J, 6 to 24 power. You got your big turrets, your target turrets. You got illumination. You got first focal plane reticle. If you look at the prices, they would have been pretty proportional to their increase right now, but they're still like really, really undervalued for what they should be. If you look at rifle scopes across the board, glass and stuff like that, glass is going to get a lot more expensive with rifle scopes. And the current pricing of like a $412 optic, if you look at the MSRP for an Arkin SJ4, I'm pretty sure that once the market actually catches up, they should be around $700. And they actually should be higher than that because the value of those particular models is very good. They're very rugged. If you guys haven't seen my review on the SH4, it is tough as hell. I'd put it up against any more expensive optic in terms of ruggedness and precision if you actually measure the numbers. Pretty good optic, but like very, very, very underpriced right now. If you're looking for a decent rifle optic, now's the time to grab them before they adjust to the normal prices. Because all your stuff, Leupold, Burris, I don't care what brand you're looking at, SWFA, all the high-end stuff, you know, it's still kind of hanging there. And there's a big inventory of parts, and all this stuff hasn't caught up yet. So I'm pretty sure that it will. I don't know exactly when that'll happen, but it will correct. And if it corrects to today's current pricing, they should right now cost $700. So that's another thing right now that's really, really affordable. Same is true with like PMags. Them things are incredibly underpriced compared to what they were in the 90s. Like I remember them being what? Because there was the ban in the 90s, right? But like they're way affordable. If you don't have a pile of 30 rounders, enough for a lifetime, then you're crazy. Now chart number 2 shows what certain items would actually cost right now if all this stuff was fully corrected. This is what these items would cost right now. So in the brownish gold yellow color, that's what they actually cost right now. And the blue is how much they should cost if the stuff was adjusted. So if the stuff was adjusted. So once the market corrects and once this catches up with inflation, that's going to be the baseline price of these items. Just looking at how everything else is going. They're slower to change price. I'll explain that in a minute. But you can look at these. Look at how much more they should cost. The Arkin SH4J should cost almost $700. Right now, it's right around $400. And if you use a code, I can include a code below there, a lot more affordable than that. You can get them for under $400, usually, if you use the code. Third item on this list here that I have is some of the lithium-powered lithium iron phosphate power banks are way underpriced. Now, not to even mention the situation with rare earth minerals right now and lithium all over the world, particularly with a bunch of changes and a war and stuff. A lot of those wars that have been fought have been over stuff like that. And so that stuff is all up in the air. But right now, there's an opportunity to grab some of this stuff for very, 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 very cheap prices. And this is one that I found that's probably the best deal that I can find. If you look at the power output potential, it's the OOPS power bank. I think right now they're labeled at around $500 or $600. They should be upwards of at least $1,000. And man, at the time of this posting, I think they're having some kind of crazy deal where it's like in the $300 range. So I'll share any links below with stuff that I see currently available for like a really good deal, just to help you guys out so that you can, you know, if you want to make the most bang for your buck in the long term, some of these items are going to be right now a really, really good deal. And they will eventually correct to all the different market pressures and market realities and the currency reality that we have. And another one I had in here is like peripheral equipment. You're looking at some parts. Like you guys go to, you know, the gun store, you have all the different peripheral parts, Magpul stuff, all that stuff, slings, whatever. I know it's kind of expensive now, but it's not as bad as it should be. Here's a chassis from Outlier. This is current stuff that I'm familiar with right now, okay? And I think it's gone, what? It's $450 for one of these chassis. And these are made in America, but like this thing, I'll tell you what, should be way more than that. It should be $800. It should have been when it came out. So these are examples of things that are currently way undervalued relative to actual real inflation that we're seeing. So I suspect one of the reasons that these things are currently so underpriced is because they're durable, they're high valued goods whose retail pricing has not yet caught up to the reality of inflation, right? That's already reflected in everyday commodities like fuel and food and metals and housing and all that stuff. So many of them are also influenced by slower pricing cycles, right? So the existing inventory of parts and all that stuff, the production lag, the market suppression forces that delay price correction compared to like faster moving goods slows down the price increase on stuff like this. Because there's a lot of parts. Those parts are built up in the factories over time, and they have a process that gets more efficient. So you're not seeing the value reflected in the price yet. The value is way higher than the price currently. But once they have to start, once all that catches up, it's slower than everything else. It will catch up at some point. So the key takeaway, guys, is I want you to look at this stuff with longer range vision in terms of timing. I want you to think more fourth dimensionally. I want you to think like, hey man, like this is this now, but in time, where are we at in time? That's what smart guys do when they invest. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to be smart, I would look at things in terms of that fourth dimensional aspect of like, where would it actually be once time catches up? You know what I mean? And so I'm curious if you guys want to share below stuff in your market, in your walk of life that is way undervalued right now. Right now, stuff that is pretty cheap considering all factors in your sphere. Let us know. Also, let us know stuff that's a terrible idea right now to buy. Like, I think right now buying a new pickup truck is a crazy idea. Maybe I'm wrong. Or like building a house. Holy smokes, is it going to go up more? I don't know. You guys tell me in your corner of the world, kind of what you see coming around the corner. Let's all help each other as much as possible and leave as much detail as you can. Also try to qualify your experience. Like if you're a professional in a field, or if you've got a lot of years of experience looking at something, then include that in there so that we can understand the value you're bringing to the table as well in the comments. So I look forward to reading through the comments section to see what you guys have down there, because I work hard for my money, man. I don't want to spend it frivolously on stuff that's just evaporated into the air. I want to purchase things wisely. Also, I will include below links to the stuff that I have listed here. The Arkin SJ4 right now is stupid cheap. I don't have links to a Colt 6910. I don't work with those guys at all. And I do have stuff for the chassis. These are just some of the best examples I could find that I think are dynamically the best value because of the value they already brought to the table already. But counting the whole dollar slide factor that has not cut up, these things are way, way undervalued. So I'll share those below. I think that would be smart if you've got money burning a hole in your pocket or something to jump on one of them deals. And I stand behind these ones for sure. I've very thoroughly tested everything on this list. So if you guys have any questions about that, I'll also include links below to the reviews on these items, because I've done thorough reviews explaining what they bring to the table. If you're curious about, if you haven't heard one of these deals, check out the reviews below. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up if you want to get more notifications. Every once in a while, I try to provide something of material value as well, okay? I've been focused a lot on other stuff, which to me is my favorite topic, the really important stuff. But if you find this material assistance helpful as well, please let me know. You guys have a wonderful day. Have a good Thanksgiving, and take care. Rex out.
He pulled up in flip-flops, shirt loud as a jet, said, "Gentlemen, I'm the best shot you've made."